I don't know what that noise was. Sorry.
How was an old man voice?
No, I don't want to get old. No, I'm young. I got this.
That was a TikTok clip right there.
Oh no, that's so sad. Everybody, welcome to another episode of the Single Parents Podcast. It's the Mimosa episode, the tri-annual Mimosa episode that we haven't done yet. So it's the first tri-annual. There you go. First official Mimosa episode with Anthony and Steph. Basically, a Mimosa episode is just us hanging out, drinking mimosas, and talking, I guess. I think I said this on the last episode that we were going to do this, but we don't really have any like plans or structures or topics necessarily that we're going to get in. We're just going to drink some tasty drink and then see what flows out of our mouths. Well, I guess I have a question right away for you. Recently, I guess when this episode comes out a couple of weeks ago, the new Taylor Swift album dropped. I need to get... Okay, this is Steph's review... I need to give you a theme song. Okay, hold on. I got to get into tune. Steph's Review Hour with Steph. This is the segment where Steph reviews stuff while Anthony drinks. So,
perfect. You're
going to review the new Taylor Swift album. Go ahead.
Okay, so lifetime Swiftie here. I love the new album. I personally really like because she released the album and then she released the like basically deluxe version at 2 a.m. that night.
Yes.
So she released like 31 new songs, which is insane.
Oh, I didn't know it was that much.
Yeah, it's so many because she released like the Tourted Poets Department and then she released at 2 a.m. on release night. She released the Tourted Poets Department, The Alchemy, which was like a bunch of bonus tracks essentially. And it was like 15 more tracks on top of the 16 that she had already put out. So I'm like, it was crazy.
Are they like 16 new songs, different songs?
Yeah. So I think there's 16 on the Tourted Poets Department, and then she released an additional 15 on like the sister album essentially.
Okay.
So so many songs right off the bat, and I think it's been pretty popular across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Down Bad.
Oh, right. You were telling me about that.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I literally cannot stop listening to it. Like, I don't know what she put in that song, but I literally like wake up in the morning and I'm like, gotta play Down Bad. Okay. Of course, there's a couple sad ones, which I am a lover of sad music. I love a sad song. Everyone is always like, do you listen to anything that's not sad? And I'm like, no, because I love sad music. Even if I'm in a good mood, I want to listen to sad music. I just like it. So a couple of the songs, definitely super sad. Definitely kind of like, end of a chapter of like a very long-term relationship she was in, talking about that. And then a couple of like pretty like scathing songs talking about what has been... people are assuming is about her little situationship fling with Maddie Healy. Oh. And they're pretty scandalous. Like, she really goes in. So I feel bad for whoever those songs are about because she really goes in. But
they're about me.
They're about you.
Yeah. All right. Got to put it out there. All those songs were about me. I broke up with her, and that's why she ran to Travis Kelce because she was like, I need a good rebound because Anthony broke my heart. And
yeah,
like,
devastating.
Sorry, babe. I'm going to have to let you go.
Had to be done.
I had to.
Had to be done.
I had to. She just, she was cool. She just, she was a snore, unfortunately. Yeah,
that'll do it.
Snored a little too loud for me, so I had
not getting good sleep.
I had to break up with her. But it's cool that she wrote all that music about me. So that's nice.
It must feel good to be like famous. She said some not so nice things about you, but
well, that's fair because
one of the songs is The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. So
is that really? Oh wow, okay, never mind. Those songs are not about me.
She's like, the lyric is like I'll forgive, but I'll forget, but I'll never forgive, or something. And then she says, but can someone give a message to the smallest man who ever lived?
Whoa.
Oh, she like went in.
Jeesh.
And she says something about like, you'll never measure up to any measure of a man. Like, she really
She wasn't holding back.
And you know, like everyone knows, and whether you love her or hate her, she's popular. You're gonna hear her songs. Everyone knows that like she takes, which I think as someone who creates anything, you're gonna take from your life. And especially like as a songwriter, like of course you're going to write about like what's happening to it and what you're feeling, because I think a lot of the inspiration for that comes from your emotions.
Yeah.
So of course like everyone's like, oh my God, all she does is write about her breakups. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's like a very real, very emotional thing that's happening. So of course she's going to draw inspiration from that. I do love that she's not afraid to be like, hey, you suck, and I'm going to let everyone know that you suck. But
fair.
I think that's fair. And if you are brave enough to date her and do sucky things to her, then don't be surprised if she writes a song about you. But I love the album. I think it's great. It's giving kind of like Midnight's vibe is kind of like the aesthetic of the album, I would say. And then the sister album is a little bit more like low key, more like Evermore folklore vibes, I think. I'm a big folklore girly. I love the folklore album. That's her best album that she's ever put out, without a doubt. I love Evermore too, but folklore's just like it for me. Love that album. But the new album, Tortured Poets Department, I love it. I give it a very high 5-star rating.
5 stars.
Non-stop. Non-stop.
5 stars is up there.
I was listening to it when you got here today. I was like,
oh, you were?
It was playing on my YouTube, and I was just listening to
I saw
it.
Your TV was on.
Yeah, so that's what I was doing. I was listening to the Tortured Poets Department. So
dang. So
I really like it.
Good.
I've heard a couple negative things here and there. There was the one lyric that we discussed last night that people were not super happy about.
The controversial lyric.
Yeah. So I don't know. As I said last night, I feel like that's something for me to divert to my pals, because that's not my area of decision of whether I think the I don't want to say it was a racist lyric. It's talking about racists.
Yeah.
It was not a racist lyric. Let me clear the record there. But she says something about like she would, if she could go back in time, she would go to the 1800s minus all the racists. And a lot of people are calling that tone deaf, which I can see. What do you think about it? Like, what's your thoughts on that lyric? I know you haven't heard the song.
Yeah, I haven't really heard the song, got the context, but I saw that on Twitter before I like went on TikTok. And well, basically what I did when the album dropped on Wednesday, I was up, and instead of listening to the album, I went down like a rabbit hole of like Twitter mentions about Taylor Swift and seeing people's reactions and stuff. Yeah, because a lot of people just like love to hate regardless.
They really do love to hate her.
So they were talking trash and saying all this stuff and comparing her to like other artists and stuff like that. So anyways, going down that rabbit hole, when I was kind of lurking around Twitter, I saw somebody had put that lyric up, and I guess I didn't really like think much about it as far as like it being controversial, because like it's always funny, like I'll listen to like other podcasts and stuff, and when they're just goofing, just talking about random stuff, and one of the random stuff they'll talk about is like, if you could go back to any time, what would you go back? And so there would always be like a black person or person of color on the podcast, and they'd be like, "Oh, I really couldn't go back to any time past like maybe
like the recent future,
pretty
like,
recent." And so it's recent always like a funny thing. So that's kind of how I kind of like took it, but you're right, not a lot.
That's like, kind of how I took it too, and I think like I said, it's not my space to speak on it. If I like. And I guess I can speak on like if I found it tone deaf or not. I think if you take just that specific lyric out of context and put it by itself, it does feel tone deaf.
Sure, yeah.
And I think it comes across tone deaf in a lot of ways. Like, not even just like the racism, but women were like, didn't have any rights. And like, and she actually talks about all of that in the song. And then she says something about like, you know what, never mind, I would hate it or something. Like, I don't remember what the exact lyrics are. I have listened to it a lot of times, but I don't have all of them memorized.
Not yet. Give it a couple more weeks.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
But I do think, I mean, people love to hate Taylor Swift. So they're of course going to find something. And I don't think anyone's wrong for feeling any type of way about that lyric. Even when I heard it, I was kind of like, you know, and it wasn't like, oh my God, like, why would you say that? But I was kind of like, I probably wouldn't have said it, but I don't know. I think it's a little controversial. It's getting a little bit of attention, but maybe everyone can tell us what they think about is it tone deaf? Do you think that it was taken out of context, or do you think that it truly was really tone deaf and maybe in bad taste?
Boom.
I don't know.
Let us know. Do all the things to let us know. I don't know why I'm singing now. The mimosas make me sing. I'm feeling good.
A couple sips in and you're really in it.
I think you might have, I think Steph thinks she might have spiked my drink with something else because this is hitting me pretty good. So, see, you saw that face. Yeah, so 5 stars. Pretty good. So that's review time with Steph. 5 stars for the Taylor Swift album. We'll maybe need to make that a regular thing on the podcast, having you review random stuff. Like you had a quesadilla earlier. Quick review.
I did.
5 out of 5 stars for the quesadilla you had.
5 out of 5 stars for my friends for bringing me a chicken quesadilla this morning when I was hungover. So they called me and they said, "What do you want to eat?" And I said, "I don't know." They were like, "Well, do you want a chicken quesadilla?" And I was like, "Of course I do." And they literally drove up, like DoorDash, dropped it off. They called and said, "We're outside." And I went out and grabbed it and said, "Thanks, love you, bye." And they left, and I came and sat on my couch and ate my quesadilla. But one thing, I love a Taco Bell quesadilla. I really do.
Really? Speak on that.
I love it. I think they're so good. The sauce that they put on it. You don't like them?
If I'm going to Taco Bell, I'm not getting a quesadilla.
Like
so maybe
a Crunchwrap is
I get a Crunchwrap.
Obviously the supreme choice, but
a couple of times a year, I feel like a werewolf when it comes to this, because you know, whenever the full moon happens to come up, I get the worst cravings for a Crunchwrap Supreme out of anything. I don't really get like cravings for food very often. But it'll just hit me where like I can't think about anything else but Crunchwrap Supremes.
We've all been there.
Like, it's weird. No other food does that. And then I'll get it and then I'll eat it and it's good. But then, you know, I feel like crap.
Because it's literally garbage.
It's
food.
trash.
Like,
but Crunchwraps does something to me. And I don't know. But the quesadilla, maybe I just never had a chicken quesadilla from
they're pretty good. They put like a jalapeno, like some sort of cream sauce on it. I don't freaking know, but it's good. Okay. Also, this just reminded me, the Crunchwrap. I have the funniest story about a Crunchwrap Supreme.
All right, let me get my drink and settle in for this.
So I don't know if you even know this. I'm sure none of these people listening know this, but I do not eat beef. I haven't eaten beef in over 10 years.
I did not know that. Whoa.
So I don't like it. I don't have any interest in eating it. No one will ever change my mind. I don't like it. And it's been so long since I ate it. It like actually upsets my stomach now just because like I don't eat it. But anyways, so please no one come in and be like, "Oh my God, but you're missing out on like a juicy steak." I don't want it. And I'm not missing out because I don't like it.
Burgers. So. Not even
a turkey burger. Delicious.
Okay.
I love a turkey burger.
Interesting.
I hate, especially specifically ground beef. I think it's so disgusting.
Wow.
Anyway, no shame to anyone who eats it.
Take.
It literally grosses me out so bad.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyway, we were out. I was out with my pals. You know, we had been doing some extracurricular activities, things that are legal around these parts that I'm not going to mention on the podcast. Anyways, we all decided that we really wanted Taco Bell, and we specifically wanted, and it's that moment where you're like, I have to have a Crunchwrap Supreme. Okay. So we go to Taco Bell, we go through the drive-thru. I'm very specific about my Crunchwrap Supreme because I'm not a picky eater, but I just like what I like. So obviously the Crunchwrap Supreme comes with ground beef.
Yep.
I always, and I don't like the lettuce and tomato because also another hot take, I don't think lettuce and tomato belongs on hot foods.
Wow, you're just dropping hot takes left and right. Oh, man.
I will eat lettuce and tomatoes separately, but I don't think they should be on something hot because it makes the lettuce all wilty. And I hate it.
Wrong.
Anyways, so when my Crunchwrap Supreme is like what a child would eat, it's like literally I get like chicken and then like the sour cream and the cheese. Like that's what's on my Crunchwrap. But I love it. It's so good. Also, they do have a black bean Crunchwrap. It's like
Okay,
on
it's
their
like their
vegetarian
veggie
menu
thing. Yeah, I've seen
The
that.
black bean Crunchwrap is actually so good.
Okay.
But anyway, we go. We're so excited for these Crunchwraps. Like I literally like was so excited. I couldn't stop talking about it. And we were going back to my friend's house to watch a movie together. So we like didn't eat. Oh, I think we also got a quesadilla. Yeah, we got a quesadilla and a Crunchwrap. So we like go back to my friend's house and we, you know, get ready, sit down, watch the movie. We get our Crunchwraps out. I'm like, oh, I can't tell which one's beef and which one's not. So I tell my friend Brie, like, take a bite of both of them and like tell me which one's mine. She takes a bite of one and she's like, okay, this is beef. It must be mine. And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like, take a bite of this one too. I'm like, because if I bite into this and it's beef, I'm going to throw up. So she takes a bite of it. It's also beef.
Oh, fail.
And when I tell you, I'm like,
no.
I'm a very calm, patient person.
Yeah.
But something about that just like snapped something in me. And I like literally, I was so excited to eat it. And that was why I was literally devastated. And it was like not a rational reaction, but I was devastated.
Oh,
and I
no.
literally like looked at my friend and I was like, this can't be happening to me. And she's like, well, I don't know. And I was like, I guess I'll starve. Like, I'm like being so dramatic. And she's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we told them chicken. I was like, I know you did. Like, it's not your fault. But I literally had to just like stand there and I like closed my eyes and was like taking deep breaths because this made me it filled with rage.
Wow.
I was about to cry over a Crunchwrap Supreme.
Gosh.
Like, I was on the verge of tears over a Crunchwrap Supreme because they put ground beef in it. Which is my worst nightmare.
Did you share that with your therapist?
I didn't. I probably
It'd be very
should.
interesting to see where the root of that anger came. Maybe you have some deep
from somewhere
childhood trauma involving a Crunchwrap Supreme that it just.
I think I have deep childhood trauma of surrounding ground beef in general.
Okay.
God love my mother. We did not have a lot of money when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like we were not well off, you know, like my parents had all of us really young.
Okay.
And so, you know, they were just like figuring it out, you know, whatever. We didn't have a lot of money. Ground beef is super cheap.
True.
And we ate so much ground
that'll
beef.
do it.
And I had no choice but to eat it because like that's like what we're eating. But I hate it. And I think the second I moved out of my parents' house, I quit eating ground beef. I quit eating beef in general. I maybe tried to eat, like my dad makes a really good like carne asada.
Oh, yeah.
And so like I would eat that here and there because I actually do think that's like my one exception. I do think that like a carne asada, like a marinated in a taco is good, but I can't eat it anymore because it upsets my stomach.
Yeah.
So anyway, maybe it comes from, you know, that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But who knows?
Yeah.
The Crunchwrap Supreme truly pushed me over the edge.
Obviously.
And then I had to air fry myself some frozen mozzarella sticks and stuff.
Those are still good.
It was good. That's just not what I wanted. And I really was so sad. I think I maybe I should discuss this with my therapist because nothing makes me more like truly upset than going and getting food and then getting home and realizing your order is wrong. It's not a rational reaction that I have. Like it's the most dramatic. But I think it's because like I love food and I love to eat and I don't want someone to give me something I don't want to eat.
Especially if you already paid for it.
Yes.
That would piss me off.
I really do think though, like maybe my reactions to that are like a little bit dramatic.
But like I said, there could be a reson. You gotta do a deep dive.
I need to deep dive into this.
You gotta do a deep dive.
I have some sort of food related trauma.
Obviously. But to be super honest, the whole time you were sharing that story, I was thinking of a business idea. It's like DoorDash, but it's your friends. And so like the service pays your friends, not strangers, but your friends to bring you food. So like you get a little
So then you know
snack,
the person who's bringing you your food.
and then you get a little love.
You get to say hi to your pals.
Like you get to say hi, and the conditions is like they can't like come into your house for 3 hours and take up your day. They can just pull up and be like, "Hi, friend," and then here's your food. I hope you have a good day.
What happened to me this morning? Yeah,
and it's just it's I think it's $1 billion idea.
I think that is just called friendship, though.
Oh, Right. But here's the thing. Some people don't have friends who's just going to bring you quesadillas whenever you want.
Well, I think everyone should have higher standards for their friends.
Have friends who make you buy your own quesadillas. Yeah.
This is
sad.
You'll have to tell me your take on this, because my friends and I talk about this all the time. And it's not about quesadillas, but we don't talk about quesadillas all the time. Maybe more than...
What? You don't? I thought every friend group had like
fairly often, but
quesadilla sessions.
What are your thoughts? Okay, so when we're out doing stuff as a group, we all just will like pay for stuff, and we never like expect anyone to pay us back. Like we don't do I paid for dinner, you Venmo me. Like we never do that because we literally like, if we're all out to dinner and I'm like, I know Bree paid for dinner last time, I'm going to get it tonight. Or if we go out to dinner and Bree pays and then we go out for drinks, I'm going to pay for drinks. And it's never like it's never an expectation for anyone else to ever pay for you.
Right.
But we just like in our friend group will literally just like take turns picking up the tab. And we genuinely don't care if it evens out perfectly. And if like I have never been like, there's only been a couple of times like if we've gotten like a really expensive dinner and one person pays, like we might be like, oh, you know what, like that was a lot, we're gonna Venmo you our portions. But I think in our entire friendship that's maybe happened like 2 or 3 times. So what do you do that with your friends?
Yeah, I'm the same way with my friends. We'll like, I guess we have like an unspoken rule because we just kind of do it. Like we just like take turns. Like usually that happens when we're out like getting drinks. And so like I'll just like usually go get our drinks and then I'll pay and then he'll go or whoever will go get it. He'll pay.
Right.
And then we,
if
we want more, we just
rounds.
keep doing that. Like, but we're not like keeping track. We're not keeping score. Just because I just feel like
I feel like that's so weird.
It's just weird.
But you know, you meet people like that who are like, I don't think that this girl will ever hear this podcast, hopefully. So, and I don't even remember her name, so it doesn't even matter. Right. But when I went to Utah for my friend's 30th birthday, a bunch of her friends that like I didn't know, which is actually my nightmare scenario. But
you were hanging out with a bunch of people you didn't know? Yeah.
So the only one I knew was my best friend. And then she's actually my best friend's cousin. Okay. And that's how like her and I became friends. So the only ones that I knew at this whole thing was my best friend and her cousin whose birthday it was. Okay. And she lives in Utah. So all of like, she invited like a bunch of her friends from work and her coworkers and just like her pals. And I have the worst like social anxiety and I hate going into situations where like I don't know people.
That's true.
And it was added another layer of awkward because I had to drive in that day and they had all been together all day, like pre-gaming at the hotel. So they're all like, have all already like gotten to know each other and like whatever. And I literally was like the last one to show up because I had to work that day. And then I worked and I drove straight to Utah, which is like 3-ish hour drive and got there just in time to like show up for our dinner reservation. Okay. So they had already been like pre-gaming all day, which sorry, I'm like going way deep into the backstory.
No, we need the lore.
Anyway, so I show up. I'm already super anxious because I'm like, I hate showing up and being like the only one that doesn't know anybody and it's so uncomfortable. Luckily, thank God, my best friend was there. So like her and I were just hanging out. But one of the girls, we went to this really good, it was kind of like Greek food. Okay. It was super good. But the girls, like the server at the end of the night is like, oh, how do you guys want to split it? Like, do you guys like, we'll only split it like so many times, right? Like they had like a limit with how many different splits you could make. And it was a pretty hefty check. Like we all had dinner. We had gotten like appetizers. We had gotten drinks, like, so it wasn't like a cheap bill, but she like this girl insisted on like just paying the whole thing. Okay. But then she was like, okay, everyone Venmo me. Okay, everyone Venmo me. And I'm like, man, why did, like, if you're so concerned about this, why did you offer to pay? Yeah. Because like, of course, I don't know these people. I'm going to Venmo them either way. Right. But like, it was just so weird. I'm like, why are you like you insisted. You're like, no, I'll get it. And then you're like, okay, everyone, here's my Venmo. Go ahead and pay. And I'm like, you're making this so awkward.
It makes it awkward. It
and
kills
maybe
the vibes.
like at the end of the night, like, hey guys, like just so you know, like this is how much dinner was. If you want to like chip in for it. I don't know. It was so weird. And I'm like, if I'm offering to pick up the tab, it's because I can afford to pick up the tab. And if people want to chip in, that's great. Mm-hmm. But if they don't, I'm not going to be like, I don't know. I would never hound someone to send me a Venmo.
So then what do you think of, you heard the story of the girl who went on a trip with her friends to like, I don't know, Cancun or something like that, but only brought like $135 for the trip. So like her friends, basically she went on that trip, only brought like $100 for like a international vacation basically. And so her friends had to like basically pay for her to survive because she had to eat, she had to whatever. And so they like basically made a video about it and like were roasting her for like doing that. And so like it's kind of like a debate on TikTok because some people were like, that's messed up. Like you should support your friend and not make it a big deal while you're embarrassing her. And then some people are like, yeah, if my friend went on a trip, why did she only go on the trip and she only had $100? Like that's crazy to me and all that stuff. So there's kind of like a civil war in the comment section about that because people have different opinions.
It goes two ways for me because number one, even if you do have that kind of relationship with your friends, like what we were talking about, where everybody's like cool with just like picking up, like everybody, like it's a mutual understanding that like everyone's chipping in, everyone's buying something, whatever. But to show up with the expectation that everyone's going to do that for you. Is weird to me. Like there's been times like we go out to dinner and someone's like, oh my gosh, like I forgot my wallet. And we're like, no big deal. Like we'll get it. You get us on next time, whatever. But to show up for a vacation with no money.
That's crazy.
Unless it was something like, there's been times in my life when like I'm going through a hard time and like someone's like, you know, come on this trip with me. And I'm like, I really like don't have the money for it. Like I really like, if I do come, I'm not going to really have any spending money. Like it's going to be really tight. So if your friend is like, no, come, like I'll buy your dinners, I'll buy your drinks. Like I really want you there. That's different than if you just show up with the expectation of like, well, they're my friends, so they'll pay for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think that's really shady to do that. Like you're not a good friend for expecting everyone else to pay for you unless you came to the mutual understanding of like, we really want you there. Whatever kind of trip it was, like we would be so sad if you didn't come. Like we know your finances are tight, so we're all going to chip in and like make sure that you get to come and have fun with us, is a completely different thing than just showing up with no money and being like, well, that's okay, everyone else will pay for me. Like that's nuts. That's insane.
Wild. That's scary. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Absolutely not.
So I'm trying to think of how we even got to this conversation.
It all started with a Crunchwrap Supreme.
It all started with now I'm starting. Have I eaten
started
today?
With a quesadilla.
I had yogurt today.
I have not. I was going to say I haven't eaten, but I did eat a quesadilla. Only ate half of it.
You only ate half? All your friends did all that and you only ate half of it?
Well, I was really like, I was trying to eat it and I was like, this is not hitting like I want it to.
It wasn't
Which,
fulfilling.
Funny enough, like I wasn't like hungover.
Yeah.
But I think it's just like that general feeling of being unwell that you get after drinking when you reach 27 or whatever age it started for you. But
yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. I think it was about 27 for me. But it's like, even if I'm not hungover, it's just like that general, like, I'm just not well. And I'm actually really surprised that I'm not hungover today, but...
Right, yeah. For context, if you missed last week's episode, we talked about the fact that, I was out later than I would normally stay out, and Steph was definitely out later.
I was out way later
a lot of people would probably
than I had any business being out. But we had a lot of fun things going on. So sometimes, if the vibes are right, I will power... Like, not very often, but sometimes it is worth the hangover just to go and do the things. And I really don't, like I was telling Anthony earlier, I like midnight is like my cutoff typically. Like if we're going out, we're starting at like 7 or 8 and we're going home by midnight, 1 o'clock if we're getting real wild with it. But no, I was out so late. And my friend and I were like, we really don't like have any plans to go out basically for this whole next month because I have Olive extra time because her dad is going on a vacation and he asked me to keep her on one of his weekends. So I'm like, we really are like not going out again. So like we both kind of looked at each other and we were like, should we just like get a little crazy with it? Because like we're not going out anytime soon. Like we're going to take it really easy after this. So we really did. And we did both kind of like quit drinking towards the end of the night.
That's good. Yeah. Because when I left, we left your work, the bar, at the same time, and I was just.
What time even was that?
It was like midnight. I think.
I was thinking around midnight.
And then I was like, okay, so you just like going home or like you going out? And you were just like, I don't know. And I was like, well, I guess she'll see where the wind takes her.
I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. And then we went back to the little. Our friend that's a tattoo artist. They were doing a barbecue and doing like. Special tattoo prices, like it was like a whole event, and it was supposed to end at midnight, but it looked like they were still there, so we went back down there, and then that's where it all kind of just spiraled out of control. Not really out of control, it wasn't that crazy, but we stayed there the whole time while they like closed everything up, and then we went with all of the tattoo artists.
Nice.
All of them, and then just like me and Bree just hanging out, went down to all the bars, went bar hopping a little bit, but it was a lot of fun.
It's so funny listening to us talk because there's, I don't know, younger people would listen to this, but younger people who would be like, okay, and like, how is that a story? I do that every midnight. Like I do that literally, like that's a Tuesday night for me, and like for us, it's like I stayed out at past midnight. Oh my gosh, like so old.
Just wait, if you are one of those people, just wait until it hits you the first. Like when you get your first real hangover, it changes everything.
Oh my gosh, I hate it.
It really does, and like the deep aggressive level of tired that I'll be for like days afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh my gosh. Like that's what I'm like. Sometimes I'm like, it's just not worth it. Last night was fun. It was like a once in a while kind of thing and it was worth it. I had a blast, but it will not be happening again anytime soon.
Well, I was trying to think the whole time how to transition into this because last episode you teased some interesting thoughts about AI. And so we're going to
I'm just going to pivot over
from all of that to, well, I'm trying to think of a name for this segment. It's Steph's Thoughts. No, that's not very.
Steph's putting on her tinfoil hat.
I was trying to think of something with like good alliteration.
Tinfoil hat.
All right, tinfoil hat time with Steph. all right. But I want to follow up because I don't want to piss off the viewer who was like, I'm only listening to this episode because last week you guys said
that's
Steph
true.
was going to share her thoughts.
That's how tired I am from going out. I already forgot that we had that conversation.
Oof.
So, but I do know.
Now you know.
I know, and you're about to know.
All right, give us your perspective.
Okay, I think number one, like we were talking about this off camera, but the amount of people who are seeing this like AI art or stuff like that like genuinely believe it's real and somehow can't tell that it's AI generated is so scary because think about, and honestly, I'm not going to get too crazy with it. I love a conspiracy theory. Like I love conspiracy theories, but I'm not going to get too crazy about it because I don't want people to think I'm insane, but I am. But so my thing is, if you think about like one of the first things that they did with AI was like the deep fakes.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't know what a deep fake is, it's where they can use AI to put like someone's likeness on top of someone else's body, and whether that's like inappropriate or even if it's just for a joke or whatever, it is fooling people into thinking that this is real. So a lot of people are doing it like to celebrities.
Right.
And they're doing deep fakes of celebrities maybe doing like adult films or something like that, which number one is so like I cannot imagine how devastating that would be to like open up the internet and see this video like of you that's not you.
Yep.
And that would just be like so traumatizing. So that's the first thing. Deep fakes are so scary. And I just think like the more like that they're continuing this technology and perfecting it, the harder and harder it's going to be to figure out like what's real and what's not. Right now, I mean, the technology is like new. So you can, I mean, most rational people can see an AI image and be like, yeah, that's AI. The hands always look weird or like,
six fingers or something.
Yeah. But it's like, I feel like, and this is where my tinfoil hat comes on. It's weird how all of the sudden it was just so aggressively integrated into every single social media platform, like immediately. And you think like it's innocent, right? Like you have like your AI like generated like filters on TikTok, but I'm like, now we have like an AI Snapchat that you can like talk to as if it's a person.
Yeah.
That's scary and creepy. And I don't want to talk to a robot like it's a person. And it's just like, I think what it comes down to for me, and the reason I think AI is so scary is because at some point they're going to continue getting better and better with this technology to where it is not, you cannot determine if something that you're seeing is real or not.
Yeah.
And that is a scary thought.
That would be scary.
Like, most people right now, you can look at an image and be like, oh yeah, that's not real. There's no need to like get worried about it. But at what point has it gone too far and it starts being used to weaponized? I mean, I guess there's no other way to put it. Like weaponized in the aspect of like getting people to believe things that maybe aren't true, and that, I mean, it's already happening. Like we talked about, the boomers on Facebook can't tell when a picture's fake. Never. So it's just like, I think the whole thing is so sketchy. Yeah. And I really, really wish that it didn't exist.
I agree. I think it's inevitable. Yeah. Something's going to happen where AI something is going to come out and it's going to like either ruin somebody's life, like legit ruin someone's life, or it's going to be used in like a scary fake news type way to get a lot of people to believe something that's not true, but it's going to either start panic or people, or like let's see, there's been times already where, like you said, like famous people or people with some sort of following have like a deep fake thing come out where it's not them, but people don't fact check things. People just scroll, they see something, or they form an opinion, and they write about it. And so they have to come out and be like, guys, like that's not me. Like I have no idea what's going on. But unfortunately, what happens is when people get that opinion, form it, and they move on, they're not always coming back to hear the truth come out.
Like,
to,
that wasn't real.
And to find out. So they're now, as far as they know, like if it's something like wild, like an adult video from this person, it wasn't them. Now in their head, they form this opinion about this person, and it can ruin their life, because especially if you're in the public eye like that, it can affect like sponsors and stuff like that.
It doesn't take much to ruin someone's reputation. And I think that that's like so scary to think about, because if someone like had a vendetta against you or whatever for some reason, like it would be, I mean, you can just go online and like make this stuff, and it's so scary. And also another reason I hate AI is because basically the whole system steals artwork from from real people.
That is true.
To teach its system and build its algorithm. And so literally AI is stealing the creative process from humans. Yeah. And then businesses are like using it to like create their logos. And now anybody who's like does like marketing or like whatever, and that's their job, is now getting taken over. And it's so weird. And you'll see all the time now. I don't know if you pay attention to it. I don't know if your tinfoil hat is on all the time like mine, but you see like, oh, this video's commentary was generated by AI or like it. And I'm like, so now we're already in this whole like financial crisis as a country. And like, there's, inflation and all this crazy stuff's happening. And now we're like taking more and more jobs away from people, jobs specifically that people have like gone to college for or gotten a degree and spent a lot of money and like spent a lot of time learning this skill set that's now just being like taken and fed into a computer system, and it's cheaper because you're not paying anyone an hourly wage. All you're doing is paying one person to run the AI software, and then the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and it just keeps going that way continuously forever.
I was listening to something maybe yesterday, but this guy, he's like a super smart like science guy, and so people will just ask him random stuff, and somebody asked,
John Green?
No. He's cool too. This is a different guy though. Somebody asked, what is your thoughts on AI, blah blah blah, and he was just like, well, no, that's not what he asked. They asked, how do you think the world's gonna end, or how do you think humanity will end, or something like that. They were like, do you think it'll be from the sun dying out or whatever? And he was like, well, I think humanity that we know it is going to end from the fact that AI is going to get so advanced that eventually it's going to see us as fleshy, meaty humans as like redundant and unnecessary, because everything that we can do, AI could do
in like a split second,
instantly, without worrying about getting sick, without getting tired, without your body. So he's basically like, I could see it where eventually, like, maybe they won't wipe us out, but like we'll be seen as like zoo animals almost, of like, look at them, they have flesh and bones, like that's so primitive.
They're so
and stuff
slow,
like that.
and
And
takes them
he was being serious. He wasn't like trolling. He was just like, I think that's what's gonna happen. Is that?
And I think that's like far distant future, but still, it's like and I think we specifically are in such a unique generation because we literally grew up and have like throughout our life watched technology just like skyrocket.
Right.
Like literally when we were kids, my parents had like, when I was little, my parents had no cell phone. Yeah. And then their first cell phone was like one of those big Nokia brick phones, right? And then even think about like your first cell phone.
Right. Yeah.
Compared to like the actual computer that we carry around every single day that can do literally anything we want, which is so convenient and so nice, but it's insane like watching it happen in real time, because we went from, like a big honking computer that you couldn't talk on the phone if the internet was running, and like and like that. I think our generation specifically had such a unique experience with technology because we have actually watched this happen over our lifetimes, and now we're watching like the next step happen. And I think this is the first time, and maybe it's just because I'm old enough now to like realize what I'm watching happen, whereas like when I was a teenager, it's like, yeah, obviously I want the new iPhone and that's so cool. And like, I'm not really thinking about like, wow, that's crazy. In the past 4 years, phones have changed from flip phones to iPhones. And like, that's crazy. But I think this is the first time maybe that I'm old enough and like actively paying attention enough that I'm like, we're watching this happen in real time. And I think like, I don't know, it's scary. I don't know. I think AI is scary and they should get rid of it. Shut it down.
Shut it down. You know what's funny?
Dump him.
Break up with AI.
Break up with AI. That's going to be our next. We're going to have dump him and we're going to have break up with AI.
That's good merch. But technology, see, little weird, because I was just at the grocery store a couple hours ago and I was doing like my week, shopping for the whole week. So my basket was full.
Of course.
We got chips, we got oranges, we got random stuff. It was packed. So I go to check out, and I knew I only had a certain amount of time because I was coming over here to do this with you at a certain time. So I'm like, all right, let's go. I got to get out of here. Ice cream's going to melt. And I go, and there's only like 2 checkout stands with like a person to like go beep beep, beep get me. The rest is self checkout. So I was literally standing there and I was like doing the math in my head, equations flying through space and time.
You're like that meme of the lady that's
like literally that. I was like, is it gonna be quicker for me to stand here in line for these? There's only 2 checks open, so people are there, but they have their baskets full too,
and of course they're full,
packed more than mine. Or should I just go do self checkout? But then I have to figure out because there's not that much space. And
do you get like anxiety doing self-checkout when you have a full cart? I get
anxiety going to the grocery store in general. Like that's what
I do too. I don't know what's so triggering about the grocery store.
It gives me so much anxiety.
Yeah, I agree. I get why. So anxious.
Like I dread it more than almost anything else.
I've literally had panic attacks sitting in my car like about, and I'm like, this is so silly.
It's weird. I don't know why.
I have noticed that like I usually will go. I talk to my aunt that lives in Vegas. I talk to her on the phone almost every single day after work. Okay. So I try to go to the store at the time that like I know she's going to call me after work. Because if I'm on the phone with her, I'm like distracted. Okay. So it's not too bad. But yeah, if I like have to go for some reason in the middle of the day, I have to put my AirPods in and put music or a podcast on or something. And it's so silly.
It's weird.
But it's like a universal experience. I feel like people with anxiety, almost every single person I know that has anxiety is triggered by the grocery store.
The grocery store. I bet there's like a correlation between people who get anxiety by going to the store and people who get anxiety when they have to like make a phone call or receive a phone call, like the Venn diagram. I bet they overlap because I have the same feeling I do going to the grocery store when I know I have to like call somebody.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I don't have the phone call anxiety. But I think it's because I'm a yapper. Like I talk on the phone all the time, and I think it's because like that's just how I grew up. Like, every single woman in my family, we love to talk. We love it. We are always talking. We never shut up. And I think that I talk to my mom on the phone all the time. I talk to my aunt on the phone all the time. My daughter calls my mom all the time. Like, so like literally all of us just like talk on the phone, like actively. So I never really got that like phone call anxiety because I think being on the phone feels so natural to me because I've just always done it. And it's funny, like me being like, I have like social anxiety and I have all this stuff and I'm the friend that like will make the calls. Like I'm the one that can step up like at work. At work, if we ever have to like call and order lunch, like I'm the lunch orderer because it doesn't bother me to make a phone call. So it's funny that like that specific anxiety skipped me. And I guess it was just like conditioned out of me because I'm constant, like literally anytime you see me driving in my car, doing anything, chances are I'm talking on the phone.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying though about all the self-checkout and I kind of took us off.
No, this is the Mimosa episode. Like I said, we're just seeing what happens. I haven't even literally we're like almost done. I haven't even told the people, make sure you have done the things, subscribe,
do the things,
share the podcast. You guys, if you're listening to this, if you're this far in the show, you're already one of our loyal SPs,
if you're actively still listening to this episode.
If you're still listening to this episode, then I don't need to tell you to stick around because you're one of our tried and true. So thank you.
And this is what it sounds like off the cameras.
That's
the first time we've like.
That's why I want to do this. I just wanted to show the people what it like. Pull the curtain back.
Yeah.
See how see how the sausage is made, but for this context, we'll see how the ground beef is made. And
I've never heard that saying. Is that a normal saying?
See how the sausage is made?
Never.
You've never heard that saying?
I've never heard that in my life.
What? Yeah, it's because sausage is made up of a lot of random gross stuff. So like, if you see how the sausage is made, maybe you won't want to eat it. I think maybe that's the point of that saying.
I'm gonna have to Google this.
Google it and look it up. Look up the lore of that.
Is this like
actually just do it right now? Do it on the podcast.
I also need like you guys to tell me.
You've never heard? Am I
the only one that's never heard of this?
You have to be the only one. You're the last person in the world who's never heard that saying.
How do you even Google this?
Tribal. Yeah, you gotta be careful typing.
Yeah, I'm like
Google. You're gonna get flagged for something. So while she's looking up that, so anyways, I was trying to figure out what to do, and I just ultimately decided to go to the self-checkout. But then I feel anxiety at the self-checkout because I feel like they're watching me like the FBI to make sure I actually scan everything so I don't like accidentally steal something. And I'm just like, well, if you're so worried about that, like open more checkers so like you don't have to worry and they can scan my stuff if you're... Anyways, but then my kids did call me. So you're right. My kids called me while I was doing that, and it helped a lot actually. Because then I kind of stopped thinking about it.
So I mentioned earlier, my aunt lives in Vegas, and we both are like avid Albertsons shoppers. Nice. Shout out Albertsons.
Not a sponsor, but they should sponsor if you'd like.
Albertsons, I spend a lot of money at your store, so sponsor us. But we were talking about, because she's like, I was like, oh, I need to like, I was doing also like my full week's grocery shopping. So I had a lot of stuff. And I was like, oh, I need to like go get in line. And she's like, oh, are you like not going to just use self-checkout? And I was like, well, no, I like have a lot of stuff. And she's like, oh, well, she's like, at my Albertsons, like it's pretty much all self-checkout. Wow. So it was kind of like that situation where you have like one or two, but she was like, I mean, on standard, even if you have a full cart, everyone, I don't know, there was a spooky sound.
I heard a spooky sound.
It is a little windy outside. It's actually probably good.
Yeah, maybe
we moved in.
Maybe
but,
we did.
But yeah, she was like, on standard, I mean, everyone does self-checkout because like our Albertsons has like 4 self-checkouts because we're small town. But yeah, she said her Albertsons is like all self-checkout. And there's like 1 or 2. And I was like, I literally told her, I was like, it would give me the worst anxiety I could possibly imagine to know people are waiting for me while I'm checking out. I guess I didn't think about so many things. Like, the thought of like me having a full cart and someone standing behind me, like,
that's
arms
true.
Crossed, tapping their toe. Like, I also, that's another just like deep rooted anxiety. I hate being like an inconvenience to people. So, you know, the thought of making someone, and I hate grocery shopping, and I don't want to be the person who makes someone have a bad day because I made their grocery shopping experience take longer.
Oh, right.
I guess in the wise words of Taylor Swift, a pathological people pleaser.
Well, speaking of people pleasing, what does the internet say about sausage?
I guess it's real.
I knew it. I was like, did I make this up?
You know, 2 different, really totally different expressions. So the first one that pops up says, this expression means you want to reveal or expose something unpleasant or possibly even illegal, which seems like aggressive.
I don't even know the context of how I even used it. I don't even remember why I said it.
And then the other one said, people don't want to see all the gross stuff that happens behind the scenes. They don't want to see the struggle. They don't want to see the work. I think that was kind of like the context you used it.
Yeah.
But I truly, genuinely have never heard that saying.
Now I can file this as an educational podcast.
There you go.
Steph learned something. At least one person learned something.
I probably won't be using that, but
you should.
Go ahead.
That's your talent. I want you to see if you can use that naturally in a sentence.
Just in a conversation with someone.
Yes. just do it. Oh, that's a good challenge. Naturally use that sentence somewhere at work, or like you're at the flower shop and somebody is like, hey, I need 10,000 roses, and you're like, okay, you want to come in early and see how the sausage is made? Like, do it.
That just made me think of a book I read, and the guy like did have like really bad social anxiety or something, and his girlfriend in the book would always give him like a code word, but it had to be something like out of pocket, like because it couldn't be something that you just like accidentally said in conversation. But if you like said the code word, then that would mean like, I'm gonna get up, like I need some space, like I'm gonna like go get a breath, get away from the group, whatever, right?
Oh, okay.
But it just made me think of that for some reason, because she would like, as like the book went on, she would give him like harder and harder things to like figure out how to fit into the conversation. And like some of them were so funny. Like one of them was something like, these mother effers always find a reason to do that or something. Like it was like the funniest like little quotes, and it's like so out of character for him to say. And I don't know why that just made me think of that, but that I was like, wow, I feel like I'm in that book. Like this is like my code phrase that I have to fit into something.
You gotta fit it in. You have to fit it in at least, and then you need to tell us in the next episode the context of which you did it, and if like you got like a reaction, because that would be.
I would imagine I will, because I don't think anyone I've ever met has heard this saying.
You think so?
I think nobody on the planet has heard of it.
I disagree. Are you on your friends group? Are you at the you have your friends group chat?
Yeah, of course.
Group chat the girls and just ask. Nope, don't give them any context. Just say, have you ever heard the phrase? Wait, how does it go?
I don't think there's anything better on this planet than a girls trio group chat.
See, it must be that, because I hate group chats in general. maybe because I'm not in a good one.
Maybe.
Because I hate having my phone blow up for stuff that is something like every group chat I've been in, there's like 5 people, and it always end up being 2 people who are talking back and forth, and so I feel like I'm just like reading somebody else's text, and my phone
and that's
blows
like
up.
You have to have like group chat etiquette.
Okay.
Because if it's just 2 people, and no one else is participating, just take it to your private message.
Okay, that's fair.
But I feel like in our group chat, even if like 2 of us is kind of like blowing it up and someone's not responding, like none of us really care.
Oh, okay.
But is it see how the sausage is made? That's the saying?
Wait, what is the saying now?
As I was typing it out, I was like, that feels wrong. Do you want to see
how the sausage? Wait, this sounds dirty.
It does sound. That's why I laughed so hard when you said it. I was like, what?
Wait, go back to Google, and
I think that's what you said. See how the sausage is made.
Do you want to see how the sausage?
I'm pretty sure that's what you said.
I think that's the saying. Now I feel my whole life is a lie.
I mean, it's on Google. There's multiple different answers, so it's not. You didn't make it up.
I heard it somewhere.
But I've just genuinely never heard that once in my life.
Okay. So make sure that's it. Send in the group chat, and then we won't end this episode until we get
see how the
we got to get a reply
made.
from the group chat.
Okay.
Okay. Sent.
Okay. All I said was, have you guys heard the saying, see how the sausage is made?
Okay. All right.
Hopefully they're not like napping or something. Hopefully we get a response before the end of the...
Yeah.
You know what is a fun topic we've been talking a lot about? And maybe I like have strong feelings about this topic too.
Okay.
Strong feelings about a lot of things.
Obviously.
Do you know what a hear me out is?
Yeah, like a person or a celebrity or something that like traditionally isn't like the most sexy thing in the world.
Yeah.
You find it? Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been talking a lot about this because nothing enrages the 3 of us more than when someone says someone's a hear me out when they're very obviously not a hear me out.
I hear what you're saying.
Like, have you ever watched New Girl?
Of course, yes.
Nick Miller.
Of course.
He's not a hear me out.
No.
He's not a hear me out. I mean,
oh my gosh.
Look at him. We all love him.
Nick Miller.
He's not a hear me out.
No.
A girl we know posted like on, I don't remember if it was like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, but she posted like a picture of him and was like, oh, like, yeah, this is definitely my hear me out. And we literally, all 3 of us were like,
no,
that's not a hear me out. Like,
sorry.
Like, you got to take this seriously. A hear me out is like a cartoon character.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like one of those things where it's like, this is weird that I feel this way.
Yes.
But hear me out.
Or like a New Girl, there's like a homeless guy who hangs out in front of their apartment. Yes, Dave. Trying to think of his name. That's a hear me out, but not Nick. No, Nick can get it. Nick's sexy
Dave would be a hear me out.
Yes,
he's not my hear me out.
Well,
but
who is
he could be somebody's hear me out. Well, okay, so we also had this conversation today because I asked my friends if they thought Post Malone was a hear me out. And we came to the consensus that he is.
I agree.
And I think I go back and forth with Post Malone because there will be like photo shoots he does or like certain stuff that I'm like,
okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
And specifically, I thought about this because he released his music video with Taylor Swift for their song that they collabed on. And I was watching the music video and I was like,
interesting.
So that's what I determined today as I guess Post Malone might be my hear me out.
I think mine might be Peppa Pig's mom. Peppa Pig's mom has always done something for me. She's a baddie. I don't know why.
You know who else is my hear me out? In Mulan.
Oh.
What's his name? The guy.
Which guy? The main guy?
The main guy. It's
Chen?
not.
No.
Shang?
Shang? No. Oh man.
I just watched this the other day.
But the main guy, I'll make a man out of you guy.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
That man.
Oh yeah.
Is my hear me out. As far as like cartoon characters go.
Okay. I can get on that, and we stan him because he is very progressive, open-minded, because he didn't know Mulan was a girl till the end, and you could tell he was checking her out and his boy when she was acting like a boy.
Right.
He was digging her.
He was falling for her while she was.
And we love to see that.
While he thought she was a man.
Yeah, he didn't care. He just love is love.
He had his moment where he was like kind of a douche about it when he found out she was a woman, which maybe says something.
Interesting.
About him. He was very unhappy that she was a woman.
Yeah, maybe.
I've never really thought about this.
Thought about that. That's deep.
Interesting.
Huh. No, I can't think about anything else. Do I have any more? I'm trying to think if I have any more hear me outs.
I have a hard time with hear me outs. I really, it took me, we've been having this conversation for probably weeks. I don't know why. We like get stuck on a topic and we just constantly talk about it. But yeah, it took me a while. And I was watching that Post Malone video this morning and I was like, I don't even know if Post Malone could technically be considered a hear me out.
Could go either way.
Because I think anyone who has like edits made of them on TikTok.
Yeah.
That's not a hear me out because obviously enough people find them attractive.
That's a good point.
That they made edits like of this person. I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't really know who my hear me out is. I guess it's Post Malone, but I think that's like a soft hear me out.
Yeah, that's on the line. That's tiptoeing across the line a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take Peppa Pig's mom.
That's so funny.
I like it. Yes.
It's the funniest hear me out I've ever heard.
Because she is, again, I like just like open-minded people because she's into body positivity because Daddy Pig, he's a bigger boy. But, Peppa Pig's mom is like, you know what? I like the dad bod. I see the dad bod and
I'm a fan.
I'm a fan of the dad bod. So we'd love to see it.
Have to admit to you, I hate Peppa Pig so much.
Oh my gosh.
That's like one show that like when Olive was little, I was like, no, I cannot do it. Like something about that show is so aggressively annoying to me. I don't know what it is. And it's the same with Caillou. I cannot do Caillou is the worst show of all time. My child will never watch Caillou. Absolutely not.
I don't think my girls
He's the whiniest
have
kid.
seen Caillou, but I'm glad. No.
Whoever created Caillou, do better. Like I hate that show so much.
Kid
you know what? I stan Bluey.
See, I didn't get into Bluey. Even
Olive I kind of missed the wave a little bit because it came out when she was like a little bit older, and now she's kind of moved on to more of like the Disney Channel like live action shows, which I don't really know how I feel about that, to be honest with you. Probably just because I want her just to stay little, and I'm like, no, watch your cartoons. But we kind of missed the wave. She watched it for a little while, but I love that show because I think they actually touch on so many like real topics. And it's not just like mindless like entertainment. It's like they're talking about like real, actual serious things, but in a way that like kids can absorb. But it's also like good for parents to watch too.
See, Maddox likes Bluey, but I don't let myself even partake in the viewing sessions of Bluey because I feel like I'm cheating on Peppa Pig by watching Bluey, and I'm a loyal man. Pig. I'm a loyal man. I'm a one-woman man, so I could never cheat on Mommy Pig. Okay. So I feel like out of principle, I can't do it.
What if Bluey's mom like became your new hear me out though?
Let me see what she looks like.
She's like a red healer. She looks like Benjamin.
Well, Benjamin is a handsome boy, so that's a good start.
But he's also like a red healer and a golden retriever, so it's a little different. I can't remember if the mom's the red healer or if the dad is. But one's like a blue.
Okay, so they're
like
blue
Australian
dogs.
Healer, and one's like a red.
You know
one.
what? I can see the vision.
Yeah, see? She's cute. She's spunky.
She's pretty cute. She seems like somebody who would be lovely to go out on like a frozen yogurt date with and just sit and just kind of catch up a little bit.
She's so cool. We love
really.
I do love the dad on Bluey. I love him. I think he's so fun. I think you would love Bluey if you gave it a chance. Sometimes I think about just watching it like
by
myself.
Yourself. That's how I am about Peppa Pig. I watched that. I guess maybe it's like ironic, but like
it's like a comfort show at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But I mean, if Bluey's mom, if you're single, if you're
she's very happy with Bluey's dad.
That's just what they want you to think on social media. Behind closed doors, I'm sure it's
no one ever tells the truth on Facebook.
Yeah, it always looks good to the public eye and behind closed doors.
Except for us. We look as good in real life as we do.
If you ever saw us in real life, you would probably cry because
you know what's so funny?
So hot.
What I think about is every time we do one of these episodes, we're sitting down.
True.
And people just don't realize how tall I am.
You are taller, and you're taller than me, and I'm cool with that because I'm a secure boy.
You're progressive.
I'm progressive. We're not, this isn't 1958 where the man has to be 6 foot and the woman has to be 5'2". We love to see all types of body size, but you are taller. And so
I am so tall. And I always think about like when people meet me for the first time and they're like, wow, you're so tall. And I'm like, well, yeah, like I always have been. Like the whole time you knew me, I've been tall. But I don't know why. I was just thinking about like people, every time we do an episode, we're sitting down.
That's true. Yeah.
So they would never know. You guys would never know.
They would never know
that I'm so tall.
We'll have to do like a standing episode one day.
Just for a minute.
Just for a sec, just so you can get the full perspective.
So you guys can really understand.
Do people ask you if you like played basketball and stuff?
Oh my God, constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, did you play basketball in high school? And I'm like, no. Also, I'm not like, for a girl, I'm tall.
Yeah.
But like in a normal, just like human aspect, I'm not that tall.
Yeah.
Like I'm 5'10", which for a woman is tall. Like I don't know an aggressive amount of women who are as tall as me. But like in a normal aspect, that's 5'10" is not even like basketball star tall.
That's true.
So I'm like, I don't know why every single time people see how tall I am, they're like, oh, you must have been so good at sports. You must have played basketball. And I'm like, first of all, I was a cheerleader and a dancer. And I played basketball one time in elementary school, maybe. I did not make one single basket the entire season.
The whole season?
Not one.
Oh my gosh.
And my parents, God love them, they showed up to every single game to watch me just perform horribly. Like,
wow. We were talking about this, I think, off camera, but they're probably thinking, you know what? One day Steph's going to be a billionaire actually, and all of these pointless games will be worth it when she can send us money and send us on trips. When I make it big. Yeah.
And I mean, I was short back then. Maybe if I gave it a chance again, like once I got taller, because I didn't get tall till high school.
Oh, really? So you had like a growth spurt?
Like Olive is like tall already.
She is, yeah.
But like honestly, it was the most insane thing. I think in like 8th grade, I was like 5'3".
Oh, okay.
And then I think freshman year, I was like 5'5". And then the summer of my freshman year, when I came back my sophomore year, I came back and was 5'10".
Whoa.
So like I grew so much that year, and I literally came back to school, and people that like hadn't seen me, like obviously my friends had seen me and stuff, but like people that hadn't seen me since school got out were like, holy shit. And I'm like,
have you seen the movie on Netflix, Tall Girl and Tall Girl 2?
I haven't watched it.
You haven't?
No.
You know what? I'm trying to think if she's hear me out. Well, hold on. I think she's in high school. Never mind. I just said that.
How old is she in real life, though?
Okay. Well, see, so is it weird if you're into somebody
this all the time?
If a character is young but the actor is not, is that weird? Is that inappropriate?
That's what I always wonder too, because I think I was thinking about this when I was watching Euphoria, because Jacob Elordi is obviously gorgeous. Yeah, he is so hot. But when I was watching Euphoria,
he was in one of those Netflix movies. It was called
Kissing Booth.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think he was kind of young when he was in that one.
Probably.
But when he was in Euphoria, like I'm pretty sure he's the same age as me, or like right around the same age as me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see. Ava Michelle, she's 22.
Okay, I mean younger. Oh my gosh.
She was born in 2002. Isn't that insane?
I just thought about. So old. This is coming full circle to how we started the episode, because I started the episode feeling old when I sat down, and now I'm feeling old because I'm like, oh, 22, she's a couple years younger than me. She's 12 freaking years younger than me, a whole middle schooler younger than me. I'm about to cry right now.
I was talking to, like, nothing serious, but I was talking to a 22-year-old for like a hot second.
Ooh.
And I literally was like, I want you to know this is the most devastating thing that happened to me.
Oh my gosh.
But he's like, oh, like we're talking, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like no big deal. And he's like, oh, I said something. And then he goes, oh, well, how old are you? Oh. And I was like, oh, like I'm turning 30 this year.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, that's all. He said, oh. And I said, What do you mean, oh? And then we were talking, like, additionally, like, later on. And there was, like, something. We were talking about something. And then for some reason, 9/11 came up. Oh, I think because he was born in, like, 2001. Which also, I was like, Jesus Christ. But I was, like, talking about, I was like, oh, my God. Like, you weren't even alive when 9/11 happened. Like, it's so insane. Weird. That makes me feel so old. And he was like, yeah, that would have been so crazy to like remember 9/11. And I literally was like,
oh my gosh,
never forget. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I do remember it. And he's like, you do? And I was like, yeah, I remember specifically. And also, can we talk about how crazy this was? I remember specifically going to school that day. I remember waking up. Wow. Waking up in the morning and the news being on and like seeing like the initial, you know, like hit or whatever. And then we just went to school like usual. Like they were like, well, this is happening, but you guys have to go to school. We go to school. And I remember they turned on the news in our classroom. And we watched me as like, I was like Olive's age, I think. I think it would have been like 7 in 2001.
Okay.
So I would have been probably in 2nd grade. And we watched the second plane hit the tower live. Yeah. As 7-year-olds. Like we had no business watching that.
That probably wasn't the
and
best.
Why did they do that? Why did they turn like they're like, we gotta watch this. Like we're not doing class today. Like we have to watch this happen. And I'm like, we were 7. We had no business watching the planes hit the tower. That is so insane.
I was 11 and I lived on a military base.
Are you 4 years older than me?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh. you might as well just said like, oh. Yeah.
How'd you like living in the colonial time?
You know what? Living in the 1900s, back in my day, we didn't have Crunchwrap Supremes. Yeah.
Anyways, so you were 11.
I was 11, living on a military base, and it was crazy because again, I was around Marines, and when stuff like that goes down, obviously, it's intense. Yeah. But that's basically all I remember. But I do remember aspects of it because I was a whole human between me and tall girl age.
You were.
Yeah. I was 11. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
I also remember specifically I had a cockatiel, one of those birds. Yeah. It died that day.
The same day?
On 9/11.
What a dark day.
It really was. Oh my gosh. I remember I woke up and it was like my bird. It didn't like anyone else. It would like bite anyone else who tried to like hold her. Yeah. And she only liked me, which is valid because you know.
Have you told me this before? I feel
remember.
like I had it.
It's like one of my like lore, like fun facts.
I think you did spike my drink because I feel like I've had this exact conversation with you.
I might have told you.
Not just told me, but like I feel like
you're having like deja vu.
This conversation. Wow. Maybe I dreamt it.
Deja vu is a wild thing too, but like we can't keep getting into so many things.
Yeah,
this will be like a 3-hour long episode of us just talking.
You know, you're in deep when you're talking about 9/11.
Really got there. Anyway, I'm not talking to that 22-year-old anymore, as you can imagine. Good. That didn't work out. So
yeah, shocker.
That's crazy, right? That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah. So it turns out. Oh, and like I love when like especially I feel like as a girl, if you're talking to someone younger, it's always like, oh my God, like who cares? Like age doesn't matter. And I'm like, no, it does. Your frontal cortex isn't even finished developing yet. And
I was talking I'm trying to think of the context. I was talking to my sister about because she was like giving me like notes on the podcast because she's very opinionated and she likes you, by the way. She's like, you're a good addition. She had some notes for me, but I cried those to sleep that night after she shared them. So you're good.
Great.
But we were talking about some assumptions in single people and what it's like for her as a single woman, blah blah blah. And we were talking about, it's interesting, a little weird when you're basically waiting for somebody to turn 18 so that way you can start making comments about them.
I don't like that.
And I was just like, that is strange because like in my head, that's still like a young person. Like sure, legally they're 18, I guess.
Like tech.
But like think about this. They turn 18 at midnight. So 3 hours ago, you wouldn't want to say that.
But now,
then now you're able to like sexualize this person.
Yeah.
Over 3 hours. Like to me, like that's.
I honestly don't think someone's an adult until they're like in their 20s. Yeah. Like, and even for me, like 22 is even like, I was like, that's too young. Like, I feel like you're so young. Like,
yeah.
I'm in such a different place in my life, but it still was like, I even told my friends, I was like, is this like so weird? Like, I was like, I feel like a predator. And like, obviously I know like 22 is a grown adult.
Sure.
Like you are,
I
as grown as I guess, I don't know, but I'm like, I genuinely feel like a predator. And I'm like, I didn't pursue him. Like, I'm not going out looking for 22-year-olds to talk to, but I was just like, is it weird that like I feel like this is wrong? And I know technically it's not, but I'm like, me as like a 30-year-old, I'm like, what do I have in common with you? Turns out nothing. Obviously. So, I don't know, but I do think that that's so weird. And it's really like some Drake behavior, Millie Bobby Brown behavior.
Literally, that's what I was thinking about. Is Millie Bobby Brown is like, I
have a lot of,
I don't know.
Drake, music, good. Person not so good. He really gives me like crazy pick me vibes.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those type of boys, that's for sure. But
Steph's hot take: Drake is a pick me.
He's you're a pick me?
I'm not.
Oh,
hell no.
I
would rather not be picked, actually.
Yeah, there was a time I probably
don't pick me.
Myself a pick me, but now I don't care. Like, pick me. Don't I gotta really go to laundry.
Do that. And I think that that's like part of like kind of what we were talking about. I guess it was the last episode with like really getting to a point where you're like really comfortable with yourself and you know yourself. I genuinely do not care if someone is attracted to me, if someone likes me, if someone likes my personality, because I like me and I like who I am, and my friends like me and my friends like who I am. And it's like, when you're younger, I feel like it's really tempting to like turn yourself into what you think is going to get you noticed. And I think that's where like the whole pick me comes from. And I think it's not necessarily a bad thing to be a pick me. I just think that it comes from a place of insecurity and not knowing yourself and not understanding yourself. But I still am going to always hate on a pick me because figure yourself out.
Nice.
Have more respect for yourself and stop caring so much if other people want to pick you or not. Boom. Pick yourself.
Pick yourself. There you go. There's another piece of merch. Did your friends reply about the sausage? Yeah, everybody's waiting on the edge of their seats for sausage.
I forgot to tell you because I didn't get the answer I wanted.
What do you mean?
Kelsey said yes.
Kelsey?
Brianna didn't respond, so she's probably
asleep. But Kelsey is... Tell her, type this exact message out right now. Okay. Say, thank you for responding, period. Because, well, can you start a sentence with because? Maybe you can't.
I think technically it's not grammatically correct.
Make this grammar, but...
It's going to be comma. Because.
Because, I know she probably has no idea who I am, but Anthony was doubting every part of his existence until you validated something he thought he knew to be true. Period.
I feel like I'm Siri.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, wait, you guys don't think could Steph be AI? Do you think she's real?
That's why I like. I don't know. I'm so hard against AI because
you're one of them.
I don't want people to know.
Oh,
that I'm not real.
So now we know the truth.
I'm like AI. That's so spooky. Wink, wink.
We figured it out. Well, I guess we've been talking for like an hour. It's so funny that
it really flew by.
It went by actually way more than an hour.
I was gonna say it feels like it's been a really long time.
Yes.
Like we're probably gonna have to cut some of this out
because this is what happens the Mimosa episode, people. Because I was just like, let's do an episode where we don't have any plans, and then silly me, I was like, I'll have topics just in case we ran out of stuff to talk about and need to fill dead awkward silence.
I wish you guys could see Benny right now.
Didn't need that. Oh, her dog is so cute. Her dog is he's like, yeah, I know. He's like, don't forget it. You better recognize. So yeah, we talked about ground beef, Crunchwrap Supreme, 9/11, banging Bluey's mom.
Hear
Tall
me out.
girls, hear me out.
Tall girls.
Sausage.
Looking behind the sausage window.
Like looking behind the sausage window. Now that sounds like an inappropriate like adult store.
That's definitely not right.
The sausage window sounds like a male strip club, actually. Business. Okay, forget the business idea I had of the Friends DoorDash. Starting a male strip club called the Sausage Window. $1 billion idea.
Take a look behind the sausage
Peek
window.
behind the sausage window.
Oh my god, I'm
and all your
actually
dreams
crying.
will come true.
I knew it was wrong as I was saying it, but it just came out.
I love it.
Okay, perfect.
Well, perfect way to end the show. Thank you all so much if you made it this far. God bless you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. That's gonna do it. And if you liked this format, if you like Mimosa episodes where we kind of just talk about random stuff, let us know. Use the email, singleparentspodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on the socials. That's going to do it. I have to pee. So until next time, everybody, you all out there, just stay beautiful.
Bye.
Bye. I stole your peace sign thing.
It's the millennial peace sign. You can't help
I hope
it.
you didn't
It calls
trademark
to you.
that. Peace.